How's it going, everybody? So we talked about at the mud bog we were at the other day that we're going to be doing a full walk around of Dana's Ranger. So today that's what we're going to be doing. So just going through and everything, kind of how he's been building it over the last, what, 10 years?
Actually 13.
13, so the last 13 years. So Dana, pretty much, what did this start out as and how did we get here?
1978 F-150 step side with a 351 M in it, modified. Rebuilt that from the ground up. Played with that for a few years. And then parked it for a few years because we had kids. And then when the kids got older, we decided let's do something different. And we went extreme different.
Oh yeah.
So we sold the cab, sold the bed, found the Ranger cab online for $300.
Okay.
It was originally blue. The frame is still the 1978 frame, all the way behind the cab. We cut it off back there and tubed it. Did all the tube work myself.
So it's all fully custom right here in this barn.
Yep.
Yep.
With help of all my kids. This is my youngest. He's the last helper here, so.
So it has been a family project for sure.
Yep. Yep. And the reason why it took so long is, you know, you only work on it when you got money and when you got time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not priority, you know, family's priority. So, but there's been times where I was frustrated, where I wish I could be out here, but it is what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, the motor is a 1972 Ford 460 out of a 1972 Ford Thunderbird. I've had that motor since 1993. I've rebuilt it twice.
So rebuild cam, headers.
Cam, headers, we punched it out 60 over, so it's actually a 472 cubic inch.
Okay.
It's got roller rockers in it, windage tray. It's got comp cam in it. Oil pan is actually out of a boat that I modified to fit, so it's a 10-quart oil pan. C6 automatic transmission and NP205 transfer cable.
So then, obviously, fully custom 4-link setup.
Yep. Lots of research online, Pirate 4x4. That website helped out a lot on figuring this all out. And TV show Extreme 4x4 on Power Block. That's where the build actually started from.
Okay.
They built an S10 Truggy on there and did a whole series on it. So I thought, well, let's do it with a Ranger body, you know. So I was trying to do more like a extreme truck competition stuff. I don't know if you ever heard of Mountain Havoc. That's a big thing out west, where these guys really beat on their equipment, but they got vehicles that are like this, and they're slowly transitioning to all tube chassis stuff. But it rocks. It's pretty cool, and that's what kept me motivated to do all this. So,
all right, well, we'll have to get it out there at some point. But obviously, you know, just now getting it out for the first few times. So obviously had it at Bundy Hill,
yeah.
And then we just took it to that mud bog. What were some of the issues that we kind of figured out as we were doing those different things? So I know we haven't really shown you the rear, but you had to make some changes in the rear end.
Yeah, the fuel tank, I had a regular fuel cell I bought, and it didn't have any baffles in it, and the fuel kept sloshing out, and I had the tubes routed to what I thought would be for rollover. So the fuel was coming out that overflow up there, the vent, like it was coming out of the pump if you were at the gas station. And I just didn't feel safe with all that gas running down, so we cut that weekend short. So I redesigned the gas tank. I made it out of steel and cut it open so that I could get more airflow from my transmission, or my cooler, not my transmission, but my radiator, to get more airflow, because it seemed like it was getting kind of hot. It was kind of blocked before. It was just a square cube fuel cell in there. So now that's all taken care of. We have no problems with any fuel coming out at all. We're out mudding, and we tipped it a couple times. So it was kind of scary a couple times.
Oh man, dude, it's just leaning hard.
Yeah. As for the mud bog part, you know, it was lots of fun. Tires are not really good for that. I know I get a lot of grief from people about these tires, but you know what? When you've got limited funds, you can afford these. These are a fraction of the price of the tires you really want. You know?
So when you're working on a budget, you make it work.
Right. So, I went and paid a lot of money for the rims, but these rims will be adaptable if I wanted to put boggers on here or Baja claws. They'll fit on these rims, no problem.
Yep, because these are, you know, a bead lock, but they're a little bit different than, you know, like the outer rim bead lock.
Yeah.
Where, like you said, they have
it's an insert
inside there.
So it clamps the tire actually against your bead on either side from the inside. So as you bolt this down, it squeezes down on everything.
Yeah, so it's basically like a two-piece wheel, all gets bolted together at the center, and then has that insert pressed on either side holding the bead.
The axles, these axles are 2.5-ton Rockwells. I was originally going to go a 14 bolt and a Dana 60 up front, keep things a little lighter, but I could not find a Dana 60 axle for under $1,200, and I got both of these off Craigslist together for $1,200.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I wouldn't have to gear them. They're already geared. They're 6.72 to 1.
Okay.
Or if I would with the other way I was going to go, I'd have to re-gear it, which would have been more money. All I had to do with these, I welded the spider gears in this one.
Okay.
And in the front, we bought a spool and put it up in there.
Okay. So it's a full welded lock diff, you know.
Yep. Okay. So this thing is 4-wheel drive all the time. It's all 4 tires. So it makes it a little bit harder to turn because it wants to keep going straight. These are off
Ford
GMs.
brakes. Okay.
These are GM calipers. There's a company that's DIY 4x4, DIY 4x4. They sell all kinds of stuff like this for even GM axles, where they make disc brake conversions for out at the wheel. And this was the cheapest way to go for me. To do brakes out here at the wheels, it would have been like $2,000 to $3,000 to do that, you know, both axles. And this is only like $150 a brake setup.
Yeah, so. Well, and from what I've seen, everyone says like this is such a cleaner way to do it because it's so much less to deal with, and if this is what's buried, this stays a little bit cleaner and it's less to mess with.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Plus, when you're moving at slow speed, you don't need the super hard braking.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than like my truck where we're going to be moving at fast speeds. Different braking setup.
Yeah.
Yep. So fully custom exhaust all the way back with some mufflers.
Yep. These are 3-inch exhausts all the way back from the headers. It goes headers to a 4-inch collector to 3-inch straight back. And the drive shafts, these are actually 1/4-inch thick, 2.5-inch diameter. That's what they are. I got them from a guy online.
You have to get them custom ordered to length.
Yep, they're a kit, so you weld them up yourself.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You just tell them how long the tube, and they send that section of tube with you, with everything.
Okay.
And you just cut it down to what you need it to fit to. 1410 U-joints.
The other thing I know we kind of talked about at the Mud Bog is kind of a lot of that sway. So you still kind of thinking maybe trying to do a sway bar in any way? Or?
I've been saying that to my son, who's my shock guy. He says you need to run it before you go and do that. See what it's going to do. But just running it up down the field before the kernel grew, I'm like, it's got to have something. It's too rocky, too floaty. But I don't know where I'd put one in the front. I know where I'm going to put one in the back. There's lots of room back there. The front I'm kind of limited with these bump stops that I put in here. Where I would even put links, I don't know.
So what shocks do you have all around? What are these?
Yeah, I went with what everybody says not to go with. They are FOAs.
FOAs? Okay. So, like, I've heard some good, some bad. The truck, that you guys saw, the box runner truck, he's running FOAs, and he's had no problems with them. They've been a great shock. So, it's the same thing we kind of talked about when we were with him. Everyone just kind of dogs you if you don't go with King or Fox because those are the two big brands.
Well, this guy FOA, he does all his stuff in-house.
Okay.
There were a lot of problems that we had when when I got them. They sat in a box for 4 years before I actually bolted them on. I mean, I came out and for doing setup to make sure suspension cleared and all that. But when we went to put them on, everything was leaking on them.
Gotcha.
So we blew them apart, and there was all kinds of metal shavings inside there that they don't have any quality control. Maybe during some time period when these were made, we noticed that the pistons were not the same in all of them.
Okay.
And if I won't point it out, I'll point it out. If you looked at these where these are cut, they don't even make them like this anymore for the top nut. But I've got one of these that's all the way down to here, cut almost all the way down out of 4 of them.
Really?
It's like they went too far.
Yeah.
So no one was paying attention.
So it's probably so early on in FOA. I'm sure at some point, they've gotten a little bit better about their quality control, but it's obviously you've had them for over 4 years, so.
Yeah. Well, the guy worked with me. I had some problems. There were some clips missing on one of the bearing ends, and the valving for the service points were stripped. I let them know they weren't going to warranty because it was so long, but they did. They sent me all the stuff. I mean, they worked with me.
So that's at least cool.
Right. So, and we've had to reseal them. I mean, we just when they were leaking, we just went ahead and just resealed all of them, just so we knew we start out with a fresh batch. These also came from FOA, these bump stops too.
Okay, so bump stops.
Yep.
And was that 2.5? Are they both 2.5 or 2?
Yeah, this is a 2.5 with the 3-inch shocks, springs, and this is the
probably 2.0.
Yeah,
2.0 bump. Okay. Yeah.
4-inch travel on that.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's obviously very different from a lot of pre-runners, but you're using similar components as far as shocks. It's just different articulation and everything like that, and the purpose for it. So, I eventually will be putting bumps on the rear of my truck, but right now just being leaf spring, not too big a deal. So I know just last winter, obviously, you went from carbureted to
EFI.
To EFI.
What a difference, dude! I'm telling you. There's rubber all over up here.
So as you guys saw last week, obviously we were roasting belts. So there's some rubber up in here, but so Holly Sniper EFI.
Yep.
Pretty simple as far as installing. I know you
I had some issues. I was trying to follow their videos that they put out, and they have a lot of literature out on all this stuff, and they do have a good helpline and all that. And I could have swore it told me when you're priming it, you got to pull this. There's a fuse back here.
Okay.
Just so that it doesn't want to try to start or anything. Well, that fuse actually goes to the fuel pump, so it would never prime. I didn't understand why, but. So once I got that figured out, that was the only issue that I really had. But so far I haven't had to do anything. It's self-tuning. I went with a distributor. I went the whole package. So
she's ready to boogie.
And if I'm gonna continue mud, I gotta do something different with these fender wells, and probably have to do like aluminum, like all them guys had out there, and I have to get put a boot on my distributor, and probably maybe even relocate my coil maybe inside the cab or something.
Yeah, just kind of, the deeper in the mud you get and the more you start slinging, the more you got to protect your electronics and obviously your air intake.
The Holly Sniper comes with its own LCD touchscreen here, which is kind of cool, so you can do all your tuning here if you need to. And you can also, there's a micro SD card, you can take a snapshot and then take it to a laptop, and you can go in there and fine tweak stuff if you wanted to. So full roll cage inside. Obviously, they're cheap seats, but you know what? Like I said, you deal with what you can afford. And so.
Okay, we'll try and get something hooked up with like NRG and get a pair like mine thrown in.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Or some nice leather PRPs would be sweet because those are comfortable. But see what we can get worked out as we grow with the channel. So, like you said, it is automatic, but you can.
It's a reverse valve body, manual valve body, so it will not shift on its own. You have to.
Gotcha.
So if you want to go through first, second, and third, that's all on you.
But there's just no clutch.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So people are probably going to ask you why I got dual brake pedals and dual knobs here. Well, the original world that I was building this for, on rocks and tight obstacle courses. This is a separate brake. So this here is the rear brake.
Okay, I didn't know that.
This here's front brake.
Gotcha.
So if we were in a tight situation, because I don't have four-wheel steering, you know, if I could afford that, I wouldn't need this setup. But so in this aspect, I got 2 sticks. So I got a four-wheel high and low rear, four-wheel high and low front.
Okay.
They're separate, independent. So if I get to a tight corner that I need to get into, I can put the rear in neutral,
Gotcha.
leave this in 4 high, push on this rear brake, and make the front end drag it around, makes it a tighter turn.
Okay.
As long as you're on loose material. If you're on
Yeah.
hard packed, it's just going to pull you straight.
I
So,
gotja. Yeah.
but, so it's just a way of using the brakes and the motor to power through a corner
Okay.
if you needed to.
That's cool. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know it could do that. So.
Yeah.
I'd always seen the dual brake, but I didn't know what exactly it was for. Okay. I gotcha. And I saw in the indicated Willwood master cylinder, so
Yeah.
you know. But,
Yep.
Yep, and then obviously you got all your gauges up there. So now that you went to the Holley EFI, are these just for like transmission and like temperatures, or?
Yeah, I've got coolant on here, and originally when I didn't have this, I have coolant already.
Okay.
So I got both. So this one's about 10 degrees different than that. I don't know which one's more accurate. I don't know. This is a lot older, the systems. I've had it since I built the motor the first time around back in the 90s.
So that's all analog, and that
Yep, and
one's
this
digital.
is digital.
Okay.
So it's taking its own sensor. So.
Okay.
And then it's got a tach in there, so I can set the rev limiter, everything through here. And this, like I said, I had already had this in here from the other setup. Just left it all in here, so they're all. I can see this better than this screen when you're bouncing around and out there.
A lot bigger, just easier,
Right.
and it's present right in front of you, so
Right.
it makes it a little bit simpler. Yep.
And then I put 2 power things up there just in case I wanted to put like a GoPro camera or something in here, and I can plug it into that.
Yep.
So,
Mount it up to the bar right there, and keep it powered up.
Yep.
Yeah, it is nice versus because what I've noticed with the GoPro batteries, they die so fast.
yeah. We do have a master battery kill switch here, right handy by the driver or the passenger. You can kill the battery right here. The battery is located in here. It is a total sealed battery, so no worries if I tip over. It's a gel pack battery, so you're not going to get any spillage of acid or anything like that.
5-point harness.
Yep. Which I think I want to go to a thinner belt. 3-inch, it's cool, looks cool, but I think a 2-inch or
Would be
2.5
a little
better,
bit more comfortable. And,
right.
Yeah. And also, any kind of rollover this would be pretty low impact, I would imagine. So as far as startup, it's all like, push button.
Yep.
And you just run through.
You turn your power on. This here's your main power. Kicks pump on, boots up the EFI system. And then you just push the button and rock and roll.
So obviously, was a Ranger, but these are very short panels, so you did all this body work, yourself. Yep. So.
Yeah, we cut about 2 foot of the bed off, and there's a seam right here where I've welded the 2 together. And these are all quick disconnects, so I can pull that off if I need to get in there to do anything. And it's lightweight. So.
How much did you have to cut out of the front fenders and your lights and everything?
I originally I was trying to find somebody that did some body work that I wanted this rolled out to here, but I thought, if this gets crunched, that'd be a waste of money. So I just went ahead and I just cut it off. So the fender would have came all the way, would have been like right in here, the bottom of it. So I just eyeballed it, looked good, cut it off.
Yep. So obviously all welding, body work, everything done in-house by you.
Yep. All the way down to the headers, everything. Made this just a filler to fill this in, so it didn't look goofy. I had original headers that were L&L headers that came out and went down underneath, but I didn't have room for a drive shaft. It'd be in the way. So I went online and found a company that sold just the tube work, and it came in a weird shape. It was like a giant J with a long tail. And I bought like 4 of those.
Okay.
And just cut what I needed.
Gotcha.
And made it all in, and then got a collector. And so
Okay.
the only down part is it's a lot of heat in the floor right here, because it's literally a 1/4 inch away from the floor, right here where this is all at.
Right
so,
where your feet pretty much
Right.
sit. I gotcha.
yeah. So just another thing I'm working out. I'm thinking about maybe doing some open headers, but the problem is with the EFI system, you gotta have 18 inches of exhaust past the O2 sensor.
Yeah, I remember you saying
So-
something about that.
So if I ran it out here and did some kind of monkey motion, I think I could get away with putting it down in through here just to get it out, but it'd be a lot louder. It'd be less heat around the trans and less heat around your feet.
Yeah.
But this isn't a daily cruiser. This is just
You know.
get in and go play. Just like those guys, they go 2, 3, 4 runs and then they go park it, check things out, take a break,
Let
go
it
back
cool
out.
off
Yeah.
and then go back out.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, it's definitely not, you know, it's not built for comfort. It's built for a purpose. So,
Right.
you know, you want to make it as comfortable as possible, but also work for you.
Yeah.
And you know, if it's louder, you just get earplugs.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, no flip flops, or unfortunately, everybody, no Crocs in the vehicle. You burn your feet off.
That's right. Right. If anybody wants to know what seraphim is, if you know anything about the Bible and the Lord, he is the highest order of angels next to God. So I wanted something to be spiritual about my truck, and because I am with my family and all that. So I wanted that incorporated in the truck. So I thought seraphim was kind of cool. If you look it up, he's of all kinds of things, of different creatures, 6 wings, and that's kind of how this truck is. It's a hodgepodge of a lot of different things, and my labor of love and my help from my family and everything. So that's a fitting name
Yep,
for
so
it. So.
very, very fitting. So, you know,
Yeah.
goes in line with the family and everything. So it's awesome. All right, so that's going around Dana's Ranger Truggy. Like I said, as you see, everything was built in his barn here. So all hand done by him, which, you know, is super awesome to see. You know, I remember when I first started dating Grace, this thing was on the ground, wasn't lifted up on the axles or anything. So it's super cool to finally see this running. And, you know, that was 2 years ago. So I know Dana's probably wanted it running for the last 13 years. So awesome to finally get this thing out. We will definitely try and show this more on the channel, especially as we get it out more. And, you know, definitely want to come down here as he, you know, makes some of these updates and film some of that for you guys. So if you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can see more stuff with the Truggy and the pre-runner. Leave a comment if you got any questions about anything for Dana on the truck. I will basically be going back and forth with him as far as, hey, these people have these questions. So if you do want to see some of the stuff, he doesn't post a ton, but you can check him out on TikTok, Mud Truggy 460 on Instagram and TikTok. So, you know, sometimes we have some stuff posted up there. I've taken some pictures. I'll have to take more so you can start posting more. But yeah, that is the truck. So hope you guys enjoyed this. We will see you in the next one.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul.